So the Motorcycle Awards for 2024, watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So a very quick video here. I'm going to talk about the best and worst of 2024 in terms of manufacturers, in terms of bikes, in terms of PR campaigns, whatever it is. We're going to have a bit of fun with this just for Christmas and coming up to the end of the year. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, what you think has been the best and the worst of 2024. The big highs, the big lows, the big hits and the big misses. So let's just go for the best motorcycle of 2024. Which is the one for me that has captured the imagination? Which is the one that I thought, wow, this is something really special? And I've got to say, this is going to surprise a lot of people, okay? I'm going to say the one that's really kind of ticks so many different boxes in terms of performance, in terms of price, in terms of looks, in terms of usability, and I made a video about it. It's the Yamaha R9 Super Sport. Now, the reason why I'm saying this bike over, let's say, a Harley Davidson or a Royal Enfield, which I could name so many Royal Enfields or Triumphs or Ducatis, it just hits that sweet spot. It's the sweet spot of everything, and when it comes in on price, then you think, wow, you're getting a lot of bike, a hell of a lot of bike for a relatively cheap price. I mean, nothing is cheap these days. And I just thought, wow, we've been waiting for this from Yamaha for quite a while. But when it came out, then you look at the specs and you actually see this bike and you think, this is a fantastic bike. So for me, now, of course, this is subjective. So you're going to have your own opinions, okay? So please let us know in the comments below which has been your favorite new bike of 2024. But for me, the Yamaha R9 Super Sport, been waiting it for a long time, and it kind of just hit a sweet spot for me. Okay, which is the worst bike for 2024? And again, this is probably one of my most successful videos of this year, and it was the Honda Goldwing killer. It was a GWN Swervo S2000 GL. It's basically a clone of a Honda Goldwing. And, and I kind of think, why? What do you need this bike for? And, who's going to buy it? And especially coming out to the West, who's really going to buy this? And I just thought, what a complete waste of time of a bike. And then you got to question, if what's it like as a bike, because the GWN don't make motorcycles. This is their first motorcycle that they've ever made, and they've decided to make a big tourer. So it could be a great bike, and who knows whether it'll ever come to Western markets. But I just thought this is just a big fail for me, and it was never going to hit any right spot. So it's not a terrible looking bike, but at the same time, I kind of think, why? You know what I mean? Why? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Go back and watch my video on that as well if you're unsure what this bike looks like. So there we go. The R9 I thought was the best bike of 2024, and this S2000 from GWM was basically the worst. Okay, let's get on to motorcycle stories. What hit the news this year, and what did I think was the best and the worst motorcycle story? So let me just do this in kind of reverse order first of all. So the worst story that I heard regarding motorcycles or people who ride motorcycles, bikers, I thought was the worst. I just thought, why? It was the case of this county sheriff, or was he a prison officer in the United States? And he was basically, he got caught being an outlaw. He started to become an outlaw motorcyclist as well. Again, you can go and watch my video on this as well. But I just thought, which side of the fence are you on? Either that side or you're that side, or just don't be on any side, but just don't be on one side of the law and then just start being a complete outlaw and really doing dodgy stuff as well. So there we go. A big fail for me in terms of a motorcycle story from 2024. Now, the best motorcycle story of this year, well, I suppose it's a range of stories, and it's the overall success of the 400 to 500cc range of motorcycles, and most notably Triumph with their 400cc bikes. They've sold, 60, 70, 80,000 units by now at least. And they've been the major success of this new wave of bikes, or this new interest in that size of motorcycle, not only in the Far East and India, but also in European markets, and I dare say in other markets as well. like the United States or Canada. These bikes have almost kind of rekindled a passion for motorcycling for all, not just those with deep pockets, not just those who like to ride on big bikes, but just all motorcycle enthusiasts, all trying to get the next generation rider, interested in bikes as well. And that's what I really like. So from an overall series of stories of new motorcycles coming out and all the different manufacturers sort of jumping on the bandwagon and coming out their own bikes as well, I just thought it was a great time to be interested in these bikes and keep on reading these stories that were coming out and looking at the advances in the technology and how well they were being received as well. So in terms of an overall motorcycle story, the 400cc, 500cc bikes that have been coming out in 2024, they've been a big hit for me. Okay, this is going to be a contentious one, which is going to be the best and the worst motorcycle manufacturer of 2024. So let's just do the best first of all. Now, of course, this really depends which brand you really like, of course, but I'm trying to look at this objectively of the kind of bikes that they produce, what kind of market share they've got, what kind of bikes have they brought out, have they sort of captured the imagination, that kind of thing. And Overall, if I'm looking at all the manufacturers of this year, whilst certain manufacturers have done some great things with great bikes, there's no doubt, there's absolutely no doubt. And I've wanted to make videos about lots of different bikes I really like, but I just, there's just too many of them in some cases. And I could make a video every other day about, this bike looks really great, or this bike looks really great. But in terms of manufacturers, there were two manufacturers I thought, and they're consistently at the top. They're consistently there or thereabouts, or they're driving the industry forward. Now, whether you agree with what they're doing or not, I just think that there are two. One, I think Triumph are doing fantastic stuff. And say the success of their 400cc's, it's almost been like an industry revelation, really. They've just been absolutely fantastic. And the bikes that they produce and the price points, but also what they do in the off-road sector in terms of their motocross bikes, 250s, they're bringing out the 450 as well. It's just been absolutely fantastic what they've done this year. And it's kind of been building for a few years as well with Triumph. And I just think they've been great. But they're almost at the top. But I've got to hand top honours to Royal Enfield. I just think they've been, once again, they've just been an absolutely superb motorcycle manufacturer who are bringing out really interesting bikes, usable bikes that people can get really interested in, and they're coming in value as well, and they're just coming in on price, on what they can do. Yes, granted, it's not all about performance, but it's about a riding experience. And when you've got a growing global presence, then you've got to be doing something right. And not only, obviously, are they one of the top manufacturers in India, of course, and they're going to be selling, hundreds of thousands of units a year or millions of units a year. But in terms of a global presence, they're probably the one manufacturer from that part of the world, that region, that is kind of well known and well respected and well received by Western markets as well. So Royal Enfield have been kicking it in the arse for a few years now, if that's the right expression. But they've been doing great stuff. But this year, I just thought they've just been doing fantastic stuff with their 450cc look called sort of Himalayan. They've upped the 410 to the 440 air-cooled engines for the, let's say, the Scram. They've got the 650 bikes that have come out as well. They've got more coming out for 2025. They've just been doing great, absolutely great. So Royal Enfield, just above Triumph for me for 2024. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You could be a Ducati fan, could be a Honda fan. But let us know why. Why do you think they've been the best? Now, you could argue, quite rightly, Honda are still number one, the best manufacturer. In terms of numbers, yes, absolutely right, because they've had a great year as well. In terms of bringing something really interesting to the market, I've got to give it to Royal Enfield and Triumph, I've got to say. Okay, worst manufacturer of the year. For so many different reasons. I don't want to say this because I don't want to be negative, but the ones that have really kind of failed to impress, let's put it that way, and have failed at many different levels. And it's a manufacturer that I talk about quite a lot. It's a manufacturer that I own one of their bikes, so I ride their bikes every day. It's Harley Davidson. And it just hasn't been a great year in terms of the motorcycles that they're producing. The numbers, the numbers are telling their own story. The kind of backlash that they've received in terms of their DEI stuff, that there are big issues in the United States, really, and more so, not over here in Europe. They were getting issues over that. But there's so many other different stories. I've been making videos about that recently, and you kind of think, you're not getting this right. You're not doing the right things, and you're not saying the right things as a manufacturer, as a CEO, and stuff like that. Whichever way you turn, Harley Davidson just be striking the wrong chord. And it's unfortunate, really, because, you kind of think that at some point they got to turn this around. At some point, they've got to find a way to, repair the road, as it were, or repair these bridges. And they haven't been doing it as well as they could have been. That's all I can say. Maybe January they'll do something amazing and we'll all be going, wow, this is amazing. But they just haven't been doing it that great. So for me, the worst manufacturer of 2024 has been Harley Davidson, I'm afraid. Okay, finally, let's talk about the highest high and the lowest low for 2024 in terms of motorcycling, I should say. Okay, so the low in terms of motorcycle chatter of 2024, for me at least, has been the kind of fall of some brands, and some brands getting into real difficulty. Let's say like KTM recently, of course. There could be trouble in store for other brands like MV Agusta. Obviously Harley Davidson, we know, have had issues as well. But if we bring this a little bit closer to home, and I've talked about this in previous videos as well, because it's never a good thing to see when businesses fail and when people lose their jobs. And, people have to rethink what they're doing. And let's face it, you're going to lose your job. It's panic stations. You're thinking, what am I going to do? You might have to feed your family. You might have just bought a house. You might have just got married. You might have just done this, whatever it is. You got big expenses to pay, big bills to pay. You're relying on your job, whatever it is. Then all of a sudden you're going to lose it. So you think, oh, God, what I got to do? So from a human point of view, from a personal point of view, I've really hated to see dealerships close down, businesses close down from the motorcycle industry, but not just in this country. But I've talked quite a lot about local and further afield dealerships. There's been quite a few in the UK that have closed this year. The whole industry hasn't been doing that great, especially in terms of the larger CC motorcycle sales hasn't been doing that great. And it's just been painful to watch in many ways, but also in other countries as well, United States. And yes, there's always going to be highs and lows in industry, and people are always going to lose their jobs and get other jobs and everything like that. But I think that's just been one of the lows for me, where I've had to report on, dealerships and businesses closing, or whatever it is, and you're getting emails from different people, and they're telling me of all the problems that they're having with, let's say, a dealership closing, and then trouble in servicing their bikes, or they're going to have to travel a long distance just to get their bike serviced, or just to get parts of their bike or anything like that, and there's nobody locally that they can turn to just to ask a question about their bike anymore. This is a real problem. So I feel for the customers, but also feel for, those people who work in the dealerships who just lost their job. And yeah, look, dealerships get a raw deal a lot of the time. And, people love to throw stones at dealerships and people who work at dealerships. But I've always looked at it from a relationship point of view, and always looked at it from, look, if it's just your job, it's just your job. You just work there. You don't necessarily make the rules. It's the principal, the owners of the dealerships, and also the manufacturers who impose restrictions as well. So the people working the dealerships, they're just doing the best they can. Whether you think they're doing a good job or not is kind of relevant. But when they lose their job, you kind of think, you wish there was another way. And I've talked about this in the past and say, well, is there another way to keep dealerships open? Do they have to close? Is there another way to, fuel that business sometimes, and just, be able to ride the stormy waters, as it were, or whatever the expression is. But that's been a bit of a low for 2024 for sure. But let's end this video on one of the biggest highs of 2024 for me. And I'm going to keep it away from motorcycles and motorcycle manufacturers, although there have been some fantastic stories, okay? And there's been some fantastic bikes and some great experiences left, right and centre. But I want to kind of bring this a little bit closer to home. Now, as you know, I very rarely do product reviews and that kind of thing. And I've kind of moved away from doing motorcycle reviews or sort of motorcycle test rides and all that kind of stuff for this year. And I think I'm going to sort of continue in the same vein for certainly the first part of next year as well. One of the things that I wanted to highlight was when you find a product that works so well, you're so impressed with it, and you think this is amazing. By contrast, when you find other products that are absolute rubbish, right? But when you find something that's great, and now I'm not going to say which product it is, but it's just that kind of sensation, that experience that you got, oh, that's brilliant. And I've had about 3 or 4 moments of this in this year that I've found products and I thought, wow, some I've made videos about, others I haven't. I just thought this has been absolutely brilliant. Some are motorcycle related, others are not, right? It's just that feeling. You think, wow, something that works and it does exactly what it says on the tin. And I love that. I absolutely love that. But I've got to say, my highlight, and this is going to surprise a lot of people as well, is a video I made about a chap who contacted me about making a fix for the gap in the Softail mudguard at the rear beneath the seat. And I thought, this is just a fantastic thing where people are making products, finding fixes, coming up with new technology by themselves, and they're just trying to get the word out there. And I absolutely love that. And I said it in the video at the time, and I still stand by that. You know, they're not alone as well. There's been other people who've sent me things this year as well. They've contacted me with their ideas. They've asked, you know, my opinion on their ideas, and I'm happily give my opinion. But it's just been one of those years where there's been quite a few things that have come out from everyday riders, normal people out there who just coming up with really cool solutions or just trying to think about things in a different way, just to help you guys out there, you know, with your riding experiences or just whatever. There's an issue and, you know, you want to try and fix it. So I love that. I love it when it's just people working in their sheds, you know, the garden sheds in their workshops, and they're coming up with a product and they say, look, this is a product I've made here, and there you go. Go to this website and you can buy it if you want. I love that. So that's been a real high for me this year, where I've had 3 or 4 different people contact me with their products, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoyed seeing what they had to offer, seeing the reason why they made them, and just seeing that actually this works and it's a great solution. So that's been a real high for me. But as I say, something slightly different there for you, but I thought it was right of me to end this year on a high with that kind of feel-good story, because I think we all need a little bit of that from time to time. Anyway, so that's been the winners and losers of 2024 in terms of best bikes, worst bikes, best manufacturers, worst manufacturers, best stories, worst stories, and those real highs and lows as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've got anything that is better or worse than that, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, well, just keep on watching the videos and I'll catch you again. Oh, by the way, yes, Merry Christmas and all that, and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you again in 2025. And don't forget to go to my website. The link is below for all the books that I'm selling, all the motorcycle related books, workshop books, and there's loads of other books that are going up there as well. They make great presents and they make great things for you to hand out as well, and do whatever you want to do with them, especially as some of the books may relate to your particular job that you do as well. Go check out the website. They're all on Amazon. Very easy. Just click on the links and or just search on Amazon for whatever title it is. You'll find it and away you go. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye now.